Okay, so here we are in Studio 2, and providing that you've followed the correct power-up procedure, we should be looking at the Mac here with a few items that have opened, and we can check that in the dock. So if we go down to the dock, we can see that we've got a few apps that have already opened. They're indicated by the small black dot that appears just below the app icon. And the one that is in front of us is the XMON app. So the XMON app runs the S6 control for the speakers in the room. It also controls our talkback. So what we need to do first of all is focus this app with the Apple's Finder simply by clicking on it in any of the grey areas here. So if I just click, and in doing so the S6 desk will now wake up and recognise that the app is there to be used, and at which point we press one of the setup buttons on the S6 desk to focus the app so that when we navigate away, so if I click over here or if I click on another app, that the volume controls stay locked to the S6 console. Okay. Now another thing that we need to check as well is that we've got our RedNet devices connected. So if we open up our RedNet app, you'll see that we've got our two sets of preamps here. Okay, so they're good. All of our phantom powers are turned off. That's great. And all the gains are set down at 0, which is cool. Okay. You'll also notice that we've got a couple of other apps that have opened. We've got our UoG meter control panel. We've also got TeamViewer there as well, so that I can remote into the machine to help you should you have any technical issues when I'm off site. Once we've checked all these things, we can now go ahead and open up our Pro Tools session. So we click on the Pro Tools app, and if at any point in the loading process of Pro Tools you get an error message, make a screenshot of it and send it to me, or if you want to, you can find me in my office. And once Pro Tools is opened, we get the dashboard, which you should be familiar with, and we just want to make sure that we're setting up our Pro Tools session correctly for use in this studio. So first of all, make sure that I give it an appropriate name. I'm just going to call this S6 test. Local storage, because we're going to be saving on a local hard drive that's connected to the computer. We can ignore the template section and then just focus ourselves down here where we're looking at the file type, bit depth, etc. And also, quite importantly in this room, are I/O settings. Okay, so you can see here that I/O settings are set to S6 stereo, but there are lots of options, and it's really important that when you're setting up your Pro Tools session, if you are recording to mix in stereo, that you use this S6 stereo setup in Studio 2 here. If you are going to be mixing 5.1 for TV or film, then choose S6 5.1, but we're going to be using stereo today, so I'm going to select S6 stereo. I'm going to be recording in 44.1, and I want to make sure that any stereo information is interleaved. Finally, prompt for location, so that when I press the create button, I get asked where I want to save my work. Okay, so I'm going to save in the writing drive. Okay, remember this is the drive that we're going to write all of our information to. Okay, we don't save on the desktop, don't save in documents or any area of the Mac. We're going to save to the external hard drive. So to navigate to it, I want to make sure I'm in the right area. So at the moment you can see I've got this folder. I don't quite know what it is or where it is, so I just want to make sure I go back a level very simply by clicking on the writing drive on the side here on the left hand side. Once I've clicked on that, you can see that I've got access to the folders, and for you students, you should be saving in years 1, 2 and 3, and I'm going to save very briefly into this test folder, okay, because I'm creating a test file. So I'm just going to save in there, and Pro Tools will open as so. So very briefly, that's how we open up and set up our Pro Tools session, and also check some of the apps that open when we turn the Mac on in Studio 2.